The sportswear giant had seen many athletes rise and fall. But when the quarterly numbers came in, Nike's executives were left staring at a phenomenon they had never witnessed before. The 21-year-old Filipina sensation didn't just sell merchandise. She moved a culture. And when she arrived at the company headquarters in Oregon, the reception was fit for royalty. A special exhibit featuring her line, giant posters of her journey, and an award for achievements that have shattered expectations. It wasn't just about the sales. It was a formal recognition of the movement she represents. A movement that has completely rewritten the economics of women's tennis. The world of sports marketing had seen its share of blockbuster deals. But Eala's performance at the cash register had left the executives in Oregon stunned. The In Full Bloom collection had been a phenomenon. The t-shirts featuring her Kapag Lumago Hindi Nahihinto mantra, the customized tote bags, and the Nike Mind Mules had sold out within minutes in Nike Fort in Manila citation. The frenzy extended far beyond the Philippines, with the global online inventory vanishing so fast that the brand had to rush to restock for the next quarter. At the company's headquarters, the data told a story that corporate giants rarely get to witness. A player ranked just inside the top 30 was outselling established Grand Slam champions. The Eala Effect had translated into hard currency citation. For the first time in its history of sponsoring tennis players, Nike had to issue a formal commendation for a rising star whose popularity rivaled that of the absolute legends of the sport. The moment was a testament to the global reach of the Filipino diaspora. Over 4 million Filipino Americans, alongside communities in the Middle East and Europe, had made the shopping rush a global event. Nike realized they weren't just supporting a player. They were supporting a national identity. The sportswear giant had seen many athletes rise and fall. But when the quarterly numbers came in, Nike's executives were left staring at a phenomenon they had never witnessed before. The In Full Bloom collection had shattered every projection. The t-shirts featuring her Kapag Lumago Hindi Nahihinto mantra had flown off the shelves at Nike Fort in Manila within minutes of the doors opening. The customized tote bags, the ball caps, and the Nike Mind 001 per game mules she had been wearing 24/7 had vanished just as quickly. The frenzy had spread online, with thousands of fans crashing the website, desperate to secure a piece of their hero's collection. The data told a story that corporate giants rarely get to witness. A player ranked just inside the top 30 was outselling established Grand Slam champions. The Eala Effect had translated into hard currency. For the first time in its history of sponsoring tennis players, Nike had to issue a formal commendation for a rising star whose popularity rivaled that of the absolute legends of the sport. The event at Nike World Headquarters in Oregon was nothing short of spectacular. Giant posters of Eala lined the walls, showcasing the defining moments of her young career. A special exhibit was dedicated to the Sampaguita-inspired shirt, designed specifically for her as a tribute to her Filipino roots. A pair of limited edition shoes sat on display, another carefully crafted homage to her heritage. Eala, dressed in a crisp white outfit, appeared emotional and visibly moved by the reception. She smiled for the cameras, posed for photographs, and took in the celebration of everything she had achieved. The images of her standing beneath the giant posters, the Sampaguita flower woven into her clothing, went viral within hours. But the recognition was about more than just sales. It was about what Eala represented. A nation of 110 million people had found its hero. A diaspora of over 4 million Filipino Americans had mobilized to support her. And a brand that had spent decades building its reputation on identifying talent had finally found a player who transcended the sport itself. Nike's decision to honor Eala was a recognition that the future of tennis was not just about Europe and the United States. It was about emerging markets. And no market was emerging faster than the Philippines. The company's commitment to Eala extended far beyond the financial. Nike had been quietly designing custom tributes that wove her Filipino heritage into every detail. At Wimbledon 2025, they had gifted her a custom hair tie adorned with a single Sampaguita, the national flower of the Philippines. along with a handwritten message. A Filipina on the grass courts of history, not just playing for herself, but carrying a nation in full bloom. Now, the brand was celebrating the culmination of that journey. And as Eala stood in the heart of Nike World headquarters, surrounded by the symbols of her success, the tennis world was left with a reminder of how powerful a movement could become when it was rooted in authenticity and pride. The images from Nike World headquarters had already gone viral. But what the cameras captured was only part of the story. Behind the scenes, something far more significant was unfolding, a recognition that Alex Eala had become a cultural phenomenon that transcended sport. The History in Full Bloom exhibit was more than a display of photographs. It was a carefully crafted tribute to a player whose journey had captured the imagination of millions. Giant posters lined the walls, showcasing the defining moments of her career. From her U.S. Open Junior title in 2022, where she became the first Filipino to win a Grand Slam at any level, to her stunning victory over Iga Swiatek at the Miami Open, to her historic Wimbledon run that had united a nation of 110 million people. At the center of the exhibit was the Sampaguita-inspired collection, a tribute to her Filipino heritage that Nike had been developing for months. The shirts, the special edition shoes, the custom tote bags, all featuring the Philippines' national flower, a symbol of resilience and devotion that had become inseparable from her identity. The exhibit was a testament to the power of authentic storytelling. Nike had recognized that Eala's appeal was not just about her tennis ability. It was about what she represented. A nation that had found its hero, a diaspora that had mobilized to support her, a movement that had transformed Filipino pride into a global phenomenon. Eala stood before the portraits, visibly moved by the recognition. She smiled for the cameras, posed for photographs, and took in the celebration of everything she had achieved. But the images of her standing beneath the giant posters, the Sampaguita flower woven into her clothing, went viral within hours, a moment that reminded the tennis world of how powerful a movement could become when it was rooted in authenticity and pride. The History in Full Bloom exhibit was not just a celebration of Eala's past. It was a statement about her future. Nike was signaling to the world that the Filipina sensation was not just a passing trend. She was the future of the sport, and the tennis world was finally taking notice. The exhibit at Nike World headquarters was more than a celebration of Eala's achievements. It was a testament to the power of authentic representation, a brand that had embraced not just a player, but a nation. At the center of the History in Full Bloom display was the Sampaguita-inspired collection that had become synonymous with Eala's identity. The shirts, the limited edition shoes, the custom accessories, all featuring the Philippines' national flower, a symbol of resilience and devotion that had been woven into the fabric of Filipino culture for generations. The flower, traditionally used in garlands to honor visitors and celebrate special occasions, had become inseparable from Eala's journey. The exhibit traced her evolution. From her U.S. Open Junior title in 2022, where she became the first Filipino to win a Grand Slam at any level, to her emotional center court speech at Wimbledon, where she spoke about the little girl with ruffled socks and chubby cheeks who had trained with her grandfather every day after school. Each milestone was documented, not just as a sporting achievement, but as a cultural moment. Nike's partnership with Manila-based artist Georgina Camus had been a key part of the collection. Camus had designed the Sampaguita tee that became the centerpiece of the collection, describing it as a blooming tribute to Eala's tennis journey and a reminder of her roots. The artist had captured the essence of Eala's story, a young woman who had carried her heritage with her every step of the way. The exhibit also featured a recreation of the iconic moment at Wimbledon 2025, when Nike first gifted Eala the custom Sampaguita hair tie. Accompanying the gift was a handwritten note. Every dream begins as a seed. Kung may tananim may anihin, and what you plant you'll one day reap. A Filipina on the grass courts of history. Not just playing for herself, but carrying a nation in full bloom. The note had become a symbol of the partnership between Eala and the brand. As Eala walked through the exhibit, she paused at the portraits of her younger self, the girl who had left the Philippines at 13 to chase a dream. The contrast between that girl and the woman standing in the heart of Nike World headquarters was striking. The journey from the courts of Quezon City to the grass of Wimbledon to the corporate headquarters of the world's most powerful sportswear brand was a testament to everything she had achieved. But the exhibit was also a reminder of the responsibility she carried. She was not just representing herself. She was representing a nation, a diaspora, a movement. And Nike had recognized that. The tennis world had seen athletes receive corporate recognition before. But this was different. This was not just about a contract or a marketing campaign.
It was about a brand embracing the culture of a player and celebrating it in a way that resonated with millions.
For Eala, the moment was deeply personal. It's so sentimental to be able to wear things or to carry parts of my culture with me on court, she had said earlier. Because, of course, it's a huge reason as to who I am. The History in Full Bloom exhibit was a recognition of that truth. And as Eala prepared for the hardcourt swing, she carried with her the knowledge that the world was finally paying attention. The exhibit at Nike World headquarters was more than a celebration of Eala's achievements. It was a recognition that the Filipina sensation had become a cultural phenomenon that transcended sport, a movement that had rewritten the economics of women's tennis and captured the imagination of millions. The History in Full Bloom exhibit traced her evolution from a 13-year-old prodigy at the Rafa Nadal Academy to a global icon who had defeated Grand Slam champions and inspired a nation of 110 million people. Giant portraits lined the walls, documenting her journey from her U.S. Open Junior title in 2022 to her historic Wimbledon run. At the center of the display was the Sampaguita-inspired collection that had become synonymous with her identity. The shirts, the limited edition shoes, the custom accessories that celebrated her Filipino heritage. But the exhibit was also a testament to the power of authentic storytelling. Nike had recognized that Eala's appeal was not just about her tennis ability. It was about what she represented. A nation that had found its hero, a diaspora that had mobilized to support her, and a movement that had transformed Filipino pride into a global phenomenon. The recognition extended far beyond the exhibit. Eala had been named to the prestigious Forbes 30 Under 30 Asia class of 2026, headlining the honorees in the sports and entertainment category. According to Forbes, she had emerged as the Philippines' highest-earning netter of all time, bagging a total of $54 million in prize money on top of several endorsements that included Nike and NutriAsia. But for Eala, the recognition was about more than money or fame. It was about the opportunity to inspire a generation of young Filipinos to dream bigger. It's really such a sight for sore eyes, especially growing up when tennis wasn't as popular as basketball or volleyball, she had said earlier. I like to think I've had some impact. The Miami win got more people to look into tennis and love the sport. The History in Full Bloom exhibit was a formal acknowledgment of that impact. And as Eala prepared for the hardcourt swing, she carried with her the knowledge that her legacy was already secure. She had become more than a tennis player. She had become a symbol of hope for a nation, and a reminder that the Eala Effect was only just beginning.